Hi there, this is Brenda with Keenan Kreations, and today I'm going to show you how I created this background using ink on the embossing folders before you run it through the Big Shot. We're going to use the beautiful Baroque embossing folder, and when you open it up you can see this side is slightly smaller than this one, and I like to use this one because this background has more of a raised edge. Either one will work, it's just I'm going to use this one to apply the ink on this side. So we're going to start with Lost Lagoon. We're going to use a sponge dauber and just put that on the end of your finger, and I'm going to pat it on the ink pad and then start patting it on the embossing folder. And you can see I'm mostly hitting the corners of this ink pad because most of the time when we use an ink pad we go right in the center. So usually the corners, the outside edges, are going to have a little bit more ink. So when you've got it kind of about halfway inked up, I would say that's pretty good. We're going to go next to Blackberry Bliss, and we're going to use another sponge dauber. And it's okay if you overlap a little bit, but I'm really trying not to overlap too much. Now the other reason you want to pat the ink rather than rub it is when you rub it, it actually removes some of the ink and it's a lighter application of ink. So if you pat it, you'll have more ink to work with. Now if you want, you can go back to the Lost Lagoon ink if you feel like you need to add a little bit more of that. Once you're happy with the coverage of ink, we're just going to take a bottle with water and lightly mist it. And I like to hold it up, and I'm holding the water bottle probably about 12 inches above it, and then I'm just going to lightly spritz it. And you don't want it to be too wet or it's going to run a little bit too much. So just do a light misting, and then we're going to work with the Big Shot. We have the Big Shot set up. We've got everything ready to go. We're open on tab 1. We're going to have a cutting pad first. We're going to set the embossing folder here. I'm going to place Whisper White cardstock right here, and then I'm going to fold this over, and I'm pressing down so that paper doesn't move. I'm going to take the other cutting pad and I'm going to press it down as I move it over so that paper hopefully stays in the same spot. You're going to push this through till it kicks the handle, and then you can start turning and run that through the Big Shot. When you open it and remove it from the folder, you're going to have this nice embossed look. You can leave it just like this, but I wanted to add just a little bit more sponging. So I'm going back to the daubers that I used initially, and I'm just going to add a little bit more ink by lightly rubbing the dauber over the embossed image. And I'm just barely pressing, just enough to kind of deepen that color just a little bit. It's okay that it's not completely colored. You can leave some of the white showing. I just wanted to soften the color a little bit. And I'll go back to the Lost Lagoon color. And you can see by lightly rubbing the ink over it, it just kind of makes the embossed design show up a little bit more. And it's also okay to overlap your colors a little bit. So once you're happy with this, you're going to take a Versamark pad and we're going to cover the entire piece with ink. Then we're going to dip this in clear embossing powder. So I just like to push it in to the edge and down, let it go about halfway up. Hold it by the edges, tap off the excess, and then repeat on the other side. This is just a piece of cardboard. I'm just going to use it to hold the paper. You're going to hold the embossing tool straight up and down. You're not going to wiggle. You're going to hold it in one spot, and when the powder starts to melt, you're going to move it slowly back and forth. Once the embossing powder is melted, it leaves a nice shiny finish to this piece, and then it's ready to layer to a card. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. For more ideas, please visit me at KeenanCreations.com. Thanks and have a great day.